Hello and welcome back to Scholastically Natalie, where we talk about books, writing, reading, D&D, and sometimes other things. Um, Today we are actually doing a D&D video for once in like a month. No, it just feels like it's been a while since I've done anything but writing, but I'm pretty sure we've also recently done D&D when I was prepping for one of my other sessions. Well, all of my players filled out their little, temperature check thing that I made. So they did say that they wanted to do rumor cards again. Also, before we get started, I did want to tell you this. Remember that cute ceramic penguin lamp that I mentioned? Well, that little sucker, I plugged it in yesterday, turned it on, and it shorted out it tripped my breaker, which I didn't know because I couldn't get the breaker to stay up. So I had to call maintenance, and maintenance came in, and he's like, yeah, these things are just sticky. And I was like, of course. It always works when it's not me doing it. But then we messed around a little bit because it's the same surge protector I'd plugged my printer in, and it's been working fine. So he was like, well, maybe it's a surge protector, maybe it's the outlet. And then we just plugged my penguin friend in. Yeah, he's the cause of all my problems. He can't be turned on because he's evil. My work chat did make fun of me. They lightly roasted me. It was quite funny. But yeah, so that was my discovery of the day. I was a little bit salty, I'm not gonna lie. My throat's kind of irritated with me today. I can't for the life of me tell you why. I don't know. I probably did something bad. Also, I can say thank God we are getting colder temperatures. I have been baking in my apartment for the past 2 days. My window's just been open 24/7. I just looked at my computer and noticed that we're like 29 degrees right now. And I can like feel the cold air seeping in. I have been sweating. I bought strawberry mochi from Aldi just to try it because I was like, I couldn't eat them when I was in Kent because my teeth are super sensitive. So like, it's cold. I can't bite into it. I'll die. And then I realized today that I could just cut them into fourths with my spoon and then melt the ice cream in my mouth because that's what I have to do with it, or else my teeth tried to kill me. And especially because I had one of them filled, it's still really sensitive. So anything cold comes in contact with that and it tries to murder me, which has not been a great combination with it being excessively hot, and thus I have either been drinking or eating cold things because I cannot survive like this. The plus and minus of that, it being so hot that I can't survive, is also that I don't want to eat anything because I feel full all the time. I don't know why being hot makes me just the opposite of hungry. So I've also been super low on energy because what is food? How do food work? So yeah, if you do hear any banging, that is because the wind's coming through my open bedroom window and swinging my blinds back and forth. The wind has been pretty strong recently, but I also cannot close my window because it is so freaking hot in here. So I'm sorry if you hear that. Also, if you hear the fan in the background, it's too hot for me to live without either of these on. I apologize. I've mostly been working in my bedroom in front of the fan that I have on at night, because I have been absolutely dying. Beyond that, my apartment's now extremely clean because I did all of it before I called maintenance to have them come over, so that I wouldn't look like a complete disaster of a person. I am, but I'm hiding it. I think the maintenance people have caught on to me. But he's very nice, so I don't mind. Oh, last fun update. I got these little, I'm holding it up to you. You can't see it because, I don't have my webcam on, but they're these little card extender things, if you can hear that. So what they are is it's like 4 inches, 3 inches of plastic with a little grippy at the end for you to put your credit card in, and that way you can like put it in ATMs without having to get all the way out of your car. I used it today because I went to an ATM on my lunch break. It was amazing. I have never been able to reach it that easily. The card one is always what trips me up. I can usually reach everything else, but I can never reach the card. My arms are too short. So with that added bonus, it was perfect. So with those few and kind of odd updates, let me know if you've had any poorly wired lamps that cause your breakers to trip. I was on the real unfortunate side of that because that breaker was the one that did pretty much all of the overhead lights in my apartment. Just why? Anyways, I did want to talk about rumor cards. We first did them in my friend's campaign. He got the idea off of someone online. I can't remember. I don't know if it was a Matt Colville video, if it was something else. Anyways, I did a slightly different version of this for a campaign I ran in the summer, where I had them all pick 3 rumors that might have spread about them because they're all adventurers, and thus they all might have heard of each other in some way to help character roleplay, which was fun. It did work for most of them. Except for the one who decided to tell everybody that he had a massive schlong, which was, to be honest, quite funny. This one is slightly different. I use it to give them, like, more context for world building and things they might be interested in. So for this one, I divided each of them into race and class and 2 rumors each. So that they each have some sort of link that they can all connect together. I wrote all these very late in the morning, right before our session the next day. And because my handwriting is garbage, several of them were sitting there reading the cards going, what does this say? It's really embarrassing, guys. My note-taking technique has been perfected to where my handwriting is, like, messy, because I write really fast. Then the issue comes with other people reading it. I had the same thing happen with students. I'd write on the board and they're like, look, you need to go learn how to make readable handwriting. And I was like, can you stop roasting me for this? So we have had pretty nice range of classes and races. So we start off with first our high elves, which in my setting, they're kind of more, they live in the desert. They're kind of tribalistic in nature, mostly in that they generally don't have established cities, but the elders live in, like, more the center of the country that they have, while the warriors live on the edges because they are constantly attacking other countries trying to get resources from them, and more magic. An excellent question is why I developed them like that, but I have no good reason. It's because I want to do the exact opposite of what high elves are normally known for, so I went with, let's make them very violent. They're a very fighty culture, and I figured having them trying to push into more fertile ground, they're not really going for fertile ground, they're really going for magic items, for a specific purpose, so, it's fine. And so here I have, conflicts along the border of the High Elves and the border of Sharn, because that is the country that directly connects to them, has resulted in a bloody conflict with the Elves gaining more ground, and the victory of Shaylin the Conqueror. What you guys don't know is that in the original campaign I ran, because this is an AU of my original campaign, is one of the previous player characters was a dragonborn called Shaylin, who was a paladin of and was blessed by the goddess of war. So it was very fitting. The second rumor was that with the added aggression to Sharn, the tribes are more united than before, and a large palace is being erected on the Isles of the Crescent Moon. as is always a thing you know when you rule a country, your people are very united when they have a common enemy. In this case, the common enemy is everyone else. And there are some islands that, when I was drawing the map, they ended up looking like the phases of a moon. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Sorry. And so it's like, well, the current person in charge would probably want a palace, and that's the best place to put it because they move a lot and the crescent moon does not change. Sorry, I needed a drink. Then we have the gunslinger, who I will admit they mostly have upgrade options, which they did point out, and I was like, oh yeah, you do, and then I was like, oh, whoops. But my gunslinger, I already know what their goal is. Sorry. And they've already kind of achieved it, so and then for the Dragonborn, I had a lot of fun giving her stuff. So the first was the Librarians of Ralk, which is a maybe enemy, maybe not, organization of definitely super ethical and definitely not doing anything bad with their experiments research facility. They've made advancements on the magic process that is used by the gods to create dragonborns. She has expressed before that she would like to not be a dragonborn, so I figured that would be of interest. Then the second rumor is that lizard folk have been getting turned in for dragonborn bounties, which I was hoping she would put together with another rumor I have. Once we get to it, I'll tell you. And then for warlocks, because there were a couple different ones, I had number 1, that there were rumors of other warlocks under deities unionizing and demanding better service, which honestly was kind of funny, but definitely could happen because, you know, deities have to get something out of their deal with you, and if you're having an especially crappy deal, why not find other people? And then secondly, making additional deals with a patron gives them more power over you, but also can give you more power. It was so funny because the warlock I intended it for, just like, that went straight over his head. Instead, they were like, oh, so do I have to, like, make it with a different patron and, like, stack it? And I was like, no, you can make further additional deals with the same patron. It was just really funny. So then third, we have, does using your patron's power weaken them? Which I also advertised the Librarian of Ralk on, because they're the more they're not stopped, the more research they're doing. They're not very nice people. And then lastly, I have that despite the demons taking over, there is a distinct lack of demonic weapons to make pacts with, which is odd. If you're one of my players, you will close your ears now. That's because the Librarians of Ralk have hoarded all the ones that didn't get destroyed by the God of Honor. Dun dun dun! Okay, next up we have Aasimar, because... So I have 2 people who are both in original race, but then they've also been turned into something else. So we have an Aasimar that's also a Hexblood, and a High Elf that's also a vampire. So I had a whole lot of different race rumors. So we... this part that I completely forgot that I had made something in my world building for, where I said that the tensions with the Firbolg were rising, not helped by the very rude and demanding king, and my Aasimar player looked at me and said, which king? Because all the Aasimar are dead, and I said, well, shit. I 100% forgot that I said that to him, but admittedly there still could be a slight resurgence or recreation. That not all genocides are 100% successful, even in D&D. So we figured that some of the Aasimar remained. And then our second rumor was that children have been going missing, and those surviving Aasimar do suspect the Furbolg. Because, they're creepy looking. Maybe they're eating the kids. That is the only possible option, thank you. And then, for the cleric, I was like, there's a large amount of undead energy centered above Lesh. To the shock of nobody, because that's a country currently invaded by zombies. They're a grave cleric. And I was like, there's a massive surge of death on the border of Sharn, which is where Shaylin the Conqueror has just conquered. I am a giant idiot. Sorry, I had way too much fun with this. So then we also had a shifter, which has been a lot of fun to do. So then I gave them the second part of which lizard folk have been getting mistaken for dragonborn, which ties into what I told my dragonborn, where lizard folk have been getting turned in for dragonborn bounties, which means that if you want to be sneaky but also not disguise yourself, you can pretend to be a lizard folk. Secondly, that the Duergar are trying to expand their borders, and starting to venture into the Shifters' home, which is not so great because the Shifters aren't really a super warlike collection of peoples. And then the vampires rumors. One of them is that vampires do not venture from the settlement in the Feywild, which she found out was because Luru hates them and kills them, usually. And then secondly, wood elves have identified a method to detect vampires, which they may or may not use on people or have set up. So it's definitely fine to go in. Lastly, I had, I had some rumors for the Kenku, who has not gotten their rumor card yet. And so I have that there is a Kenku that can talk by itself. And then that exotic races have gone missing in Sharn and to be on their guard. Which definitely isn't tied into the questionable research facility. No. And then, because they're a bard, I was trying to give them some interesting things for them to maybe want to learn or do. So I have the first rumor that if you learn a 12-minute song and play it perfectly for the god of music, they will grant you a boon. And then secondly, that a legendary bard is coming to Lesh to perform for the Empress. And then lastly, we have the Hexblood, who his first rumor was that children are used in many powerful hag rituals, especially if they're of a blessed race, and then that most hags hide in the Underdark of the Feywild once stealing their prey. Both of these were meant to connect to the Aasimar rumor that children are going missing, because I'm having fun with the political situation over there, which is that there's children being abducted by hags, because Aasimar are a blessed race and they're very powerful, but because hags just disappear into an alternate dimension, the Aasimar are blaming the Furbolg. This is relevant because my Hexblood is on the run from his original hag creator and is terrified of them. So the real question is, would he be brave and try to go stop it, or would he maybe avoid it and never go there? And that's the ultimate question. So I don't know what I was entirely planning on telling you about these rumor cards. I mostly wanted to give you some ideas for if you want to try your own. Some of mine are some of them all interconnect for scenarios. I'm trying to give my players hints for if they want to drop disguises or not use them as much. I'm also trying to just throw out some different hooks, see which ones they bite on, so that I can try to get some sort of hint as to what they're planning next. And we had far too much fun in our last session. because we did, in fact, turn most of the dwarves into tiny unicorns as revenge, because one of my players made a deal with Luru. And then one of my other players just got turned into a unicorn for a bit, because, again, I play Luru, and I like her. She's fun. Last time the party encountered her, some of them drank the tea and just got turned into birds, so I figured this way we'd do something slightly different. And I think next up the party is planning on traveling up to where the Furbolg and the Aasimar are, which can only be good, right? Where they are planning on picking up the Feywild Scout, who is now an NPC run by me that is with the party. Oh my. Who's a giant, 1.5 tall, hot pink crested cockatoo who talks. He's definitely not suspicious. He's a good boy. He immediately learned all the swear words, it's fine. But he had a friend request to come pick them up, and it's definitely not a bad thing at all. And I don't know, I feel like this is definitely kind of a random and rambly and not super pointed video, but I wanted to let you know what I've been doing, trying in my campaign that's kind of new. We haven't played again yet, so we'll see what they decide to do with these additional rumor cards, if they want to do anything, if they don't want to, that's fine. They're wandering around. So I think with that, let me know which of these rumors / hooks you might be most interested in, which ones would your characters be interested in. If you were to write these rumor cards, what might you put on them? Let me know how your week has been. Have you tripped any breakers? Did you also buy a suspiciously poorly wired penguin lamp? I am interested to know. Sorry for coughing and sniffing in this video. I am a mess. I'm trying to do it away from the mic, but my throat does not love me today. And in an attempt to stop myself from dying on top of the microphone, I'm gonna check out now. Scholastically Natalie is out.